So today we'll be inducting 4 new Toastmasters to our PTAT. Fellow Toastmasters, it is now our duty and privilege to induct 4 new members into Port Town Advanced Toastmasters Club. This is an important occasion both for these new members and for our club. These individuals have come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership, and we now have an opportunity to help them learn, grow, and achieve. I will now call out the names of our new members. Please withhold your virtual applause until the ceremony is completed. TM Hilda Fernandez, TM Trisha Lara D'Souza, TM Zaibun Nisa, and TM Rita Pinto. You are joining a worldwide organization that has helped more than 4 million people learn to communicate more effectively. As members of Port Town Advanced Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to help one another in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Membership in this club and in Toastmasters International is a privilege that carries with it many rewards. Yet it also places certain obligations upon you. We are a group of people brought together to do things we could not accomplish alone. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. This means you must work diligently towards your own self-development, evaluate others' speeches in a spirit of support and sharing, assist the club in reaching its goals, remain positive, and keep a smile on your face. We ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourself to personal growth, to share this great gift with your fellow members, and to help keep this Toastmasters Club strong and dynamic. Now, when I say I, please say your name. I.
Rita Pinto.
Zaibun Nisa.
Yeah.
Hilda Fernandez.
Yes. Trisha.
Trisha D'Souza.
Zaibun Nisa.
Yes, thank you. In the presence of my fellow members of the Port Town Advanced Toastmasters Club, make this firm obligation. To attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for each assignment. To apply myself to the projects outlined in the Toastmasters education program. To participate actively in club activities. To evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner. To build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members. And to bring other new members into the club so that they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. Do you agree to be bound by these obligations? Please respond by saying I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
Please join me in welcoming our newest members to our club. Welcome all the 4 new Toastmasters. I hand over the session now back to our president, Lyra.
Thank you, Anvish. You did it very well. Thank you. So welcome the newbies into our club. You will surely benefit from whatever we are going to learn and going to communicate and will be better leaders. Thank you. Now I hand over the proceedings to the TMOD, Mahesh Naik. Over to you, Mahesh Naik. Mahesh, kindly unmute. Mahesh Naik, kindly, we can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Mahesh. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so
Over to you.
I begin now.
Yes.
So Toastmasters, Port Towners and guests, hello and good evening to you all. It's my privilege to be the TMOD for this 96th meeting of PTAT, and it's a very special meeting today because we have a very special person with us, and that is DTM Arjun Sundar Raj of Bangalore Storytellers Toastmasters Club. He's here to do a education session for us later on, and you will know more about him from DTM Malini Hebar. So welcome DTM Arjun Sundar Raj to this session. I'll now move on to the main point, and that is the theme for the day. The theme I've chosen is Be the Change. These are profound words which were actually stolen from Mahatma Gandhi. When I was looking for a theme, I came across this beautiful quote by Mahatma Gandhi which says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." when I had to really take this quote, I was in a moral dilemma, because Mahatma Gandhi is all about honesty, and I don't think he would approve of me, being should be honest in thought, word, and deed, and he may not approve of me pinching ideas from him. So I tried to solve it by exploring more about it. One more beautiful quote. His quote is, "The world has enough for every man's need, but not for every man's greed." So I thought we can solve this. Made sense to me. I thought we could solve this problem by not being greedy, and I took only a small portion what we needed, and that is be the change, and not the entire sentence. Be the change you want to see in the world. So be the change brings me to the main issue. We are Toastmasters. We are focused on communication and leadership. These are the two tracks we take. We mostly focus on communication. So I want to focus on leadership, and Be the Change is all about leadership in Toastmasters. Now, all of us, when we want to be leaders, we look.
Mahesh, have we lost you? Mahesh?
I think there's a network issue.
Yeah. It looks like
Mahesh?
it's, yeah, it's frozen or something. Mahesh?
I'll call him and tell him to log in
Yeah.
from his phone, Lyra.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
call him.
But keeping in this the time, Lyra, should we have do the grammarians this word for the day?
Yeah, yeah. Wait. I'll just call the grammarian.
Our general evaluator can take charge, and the general evaluator can ask.
Yes. I call upon the general evaluator to come forward and do her job.
Okay, now first.
Toastmasters Shivani. DTM
Yes.
Shivani, yeah.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters. I think now first we will go into the speaking part of the meeting, speaking segment, prepared speech segment. So now first speaker will be.
So you call the grammarian.
Toastmaster.
Shivani, call the
I
grammarian.
will call the grammarian. Yeah, grammarian DTM Vidya Shanai to give the word of the day.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. The word of the day is change. That is to make or become different, to take or use another instead of. So here are two sentences. There is a proposal to change the law, or she decided to change her diet. Now here are some synonyms: amend, alter, adapt, convert, modify, or the most fashionable ones are refashion, refine, revamp, reshape, reconstruct. The word is change. Please use it.
Vidya, could you please text it in the chat box so that it will be more convenient for people to use it? Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Vidya Shanai. We have Toastmaster Wayne D'Souza as a timer. So you can, speakers can please pin Toastmaster Wayne D'Souza whenever and when they are taking the stage. So Wayne D'Souza, yeah. And we have Toastmaster Radhika Adappa as our counter. Yes, now we'll move on to the prepared speech session. So first speaker will be Toastmaster Rita Pinto, who is a debutante, and she will be delivering her icebreaker speech. So, and who will be evaluated by DTM Maria DeCosta. So I request DTM Maria DeCosta to please read out the objectives of Toastmaster Rita Pinto's speech. Yes, over to you.
Toastmaster Rita Pinto is on her icebreaker speech.
Phyllis ma'am, I think 2 devices are on. I think it's better you put off one of the device.
Okay, okay.
Or make Rita, shift Rita to another room. I think Rita is just with you.
Rita is doing her pathways, motivational strategies, and she is on her icebreaker speech so that we come to know her a little better. Rita, I wish you all the best on your journey to change.
Oh,
And
over to Rita
no.
Pinto.
Shivani, 1 second.
Yes.
And the title of Rita's speech is From Dream to Thought and Now to Action. Rita Pinto, from dream to thought and now to action. Over to you, Shivani.
Yes. All the best, Toastmaster Rita Pinto. Over to you.
Yeah. Start. Dream, dream, dream. For dreams lead to thoughts and thoughts lead to action, says Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, a teacher I admire. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, guest, good evening. When I see an audience like your stature and brilliance, I feel I should become a part of your family, worthy and willing too. I'm Rita Fernandez Nee Pinto, a math teacher at Kasia High School, Mangalore. I love math and teaching students of various capacities and backgrounds is a challenge to experience, explore, and enjoy. Every year, my success story features 100% scorers from backbenchers, economically poor but casual to learn. As a teacher, my message to the world is, don't take your personal problems at your workplace. Smile, be alert and active. I'm an 8th grade distinction student of Trinity College of London and a proud mother of 2 children. Dr. Royston, a scientist in France, and Ramona, who is pursuing her master's in architecture in Italy. I have a gentle, responsible, and brilliant husband who retired as a Class 1 officer. He is my pillar of source and strength. My hobbies ranges from cooking to gardening, dancing, and social work. I join hands with my mentor, DTM Phyllis DeCosta, in our social service projects. It's my joy to set aside a tiny part of my salary towards helping the economically deserving. I'm daring and ready to face any challenges at school and beyond. Have organized various programs, and I believe that excellence is a habit to be nurtured and cherished. I'm proud to say that I'm a Kannada medium student and all our departmental programs are in Kannada. So, I want to excel in English public speaking and hence I'm here with you. For I feel assured of your encouragement to reach my goal. I had the joy of attending your previous meetings and seeing your performance I felt I should join your prestigious club. Dear friends, I depend on your guidance and I'm sure to put in my effort to be like you, confident, capable, and committed speakers. I dream, and my thought has today turned into an action. My icebreaker. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rita Pinto. Yeah, it's true that Toastmasters will always be there whenever and in whichever way you want. And also, they lend the support every time. Okay. Now, next speaker will be Toastmaster Claudette Norona, who will be evaluated by DTM Dr. C.K. Ballal. I request Dr. C.K. Ballal to please read out the objectives of the speech plan of Claudette Norona. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Lolly, Claudette Norona, better known as Lolly in our club, is on level 5, project 5, under motivational strategies. And she used to show us how to build a team. So it's called team building. And she's going to do this in her own innovative fashion, because we are handicapped with being online. She has to build and work with a small team to design and host a team building event, either in her Toastmasters club or another environment. So I think it's a slightly different environment, although it's Toastmasters, so it's an online meeting. Before the event, she is to deliver a 2 to 3 minutes report at a club meeting, which is today, to share her plans. So that's what she's going to do first. And then she's going to build a team in her own innovative way. And after the event, that is after she's built a team, she's to deliver a 5 to 7 minute speech to her club, the Advanced Toastmasters Club. So over to you. I know it's challenging, Lolly, but I'm sure you'll excel. And we're all looking for a change, aren't we? So you'll do it in a different way. Thank you very much. Over to you, Lolly. Her time is 12, 14, and 15 minutes. Timer, please note. So the yellow flag at 12, the orange flag at 14, and the red flag at 15. Over to you, Lolly.
Thank you, Dr. C.K. The title of my speech is Connect, Connectedness.
There's some confusion with the flag. Green flag at
It's
12.
Green, amber, and red, yes.
Yellow at 14 and red at 15. Okay,
yeah. Green at
yeah.
Shall I start?
Please do, Lolly. Yes, over to you.
It was Patrick Lencioni who said, teamwork begins with trust, and that can only happen if we overcome our need to be invulnerable. That, my dear Toastmasters, is easier said than done. To be vulnerable needs courage. It needs the ability to reveal your authentic self without hiding behind a mask, just to appease others. It needs the ability to bare your soul and reveal the flaws in your beautifully imperfect self. And this is possible only if there's a sense of belonging, of connectedness between the members of the team. Belonging is not a reward for proving, perfecting, pleasing, and pretending. This is what the noted psychologist Brené Brown said. Shame and fear make us often prevents us from being connected to other people. We feel we might not be worthy enough of love, and of trust. And so we sidestep vulnerability in order to just maintain those relationships. So how do we go about being vulnerable and make a habit out of it? We have to know what our values are and make a daily habit of connecting with them. Stand up for what you believe in. Express your emotions. Don't do it by blaming others. Notice and observe what your emotions are and don't suppress them. Be kind to yourself. Everybody makes mistakes. Accept yours and then make a good intention to move on and change. Empower others. Appreciate the vulnerability in others and act from a position of love and respect. Move your body. It gives you such a feeling of freedom. Dance, sing, do some yoga, meditate, and you will feel better about yourself. Our hormonal, neural, and genetic makeup are not supported by independence, but by interdependence, which is why while we were at Port Town and we had our physical meetings, we used to so look forward to that one dinner meeting that we had every month at each other's homes. We did adhere to the structure of the Toastmasters meeting, but we also shared dinner with each other and we laughed and there was a great sense of bonhomie, camaraderie. And now with these online meetings that we've been having recently, we have lost an essential ingredient, our physical presence. And so this activity is aimed at reviving that connectedness, reestablishing that feeling of belonging very closely to each other. And to do that, we are going to also build the trust that we have within each other. We are going to improve our communication with each other, nurture cooperative relationships, feel like we are one team united towards one goal of improving ourselves and helping each other improve. And during this activity, what we are going to do is for about 30 or 35 seconds, we are going to talk about some personality trait that we are really happy with about ourselves. And also, we're going to talk about something, a flaw, what we consider a flaw in our personality, and would like to change in the future. And so, to show you that it's all done in good faith, I'm going to be the very first person to disclose something about myself. And then I'm going to invite other members to also do likewise. I'm very happy and pleased to know that I'm an honest and a sincere person. But in my desire to be absolutely honest, I sometimes border on being blunt and outspoken. And it bothers me if I feel I have hurt somebody's feelings. I think I probably feel more unhappy and remorseful than they do. And I am working steadily towards being more diplomatic, discreet, and subtle without giving up any of that sincerity and honesty. And now I would like to request the members of Port Town, who are all part of this one team, which belongs together, to also do a little bit of sharing. Geeta, would you like to share?
Yeah, yes,
Geeta?
yes, Claudette. Yeah, yes, Lolly. I would like to share my my personal trait. I'm sort of like a very anxious person, but I have sort of trained myself to be less anxious over a period of time. I would just like to say that, you know, my children who were with me for a long time, last 4 years ago, they left home. So naturally, as a mother, I've become very anxious. Even though I'm not a helicopter mom, I've given them a lot of liberty to grow in their own field and, you know, in their own strength. But still, I find myself controlling them in some way or the other. You know, for example, you know, sending them a message and making sure they have read my message, waiting for that blue tick mark on the WhatsApp. So this may be a little bit of a positive trait, but sometimes it could be something like, I'm putting a lot of pressure on them, as a mother. So sometimes I feel maybe it's good in a way that I'm connected to them, and but it should not backfire. So I'm trying to build my relationship with my kids so that it's a positive impact on them. So if you have any advice, Lolly, I would be happy to hear from you.
I don't have any advice for you, Geeta. I can only say that I'm sailing in the same boat. So, yeah, Vivala change. Perhaps we could have one of the gents now. Anvesh, would you like to speak?
Yes. So one attribute that I'm happy about is perseverance. So I sit in the same chair from morning to evening, and I don't get up till the work is done. So sometimes even if it takes hours together, I don't get up, I sit here. Now this attribute has other side as well. That is, I'm finding very difficult to find a work-life balance. So I sit here for even the late night on a daily basis. I go home late in the night, and I feel because of this trait, I'm not able to give enough time for the family part. And this one thing which bothers me, and I'm still struggling to find that work-life balance.
Thank you, Anvesh. Thank you. Yes, I know that is not easy. I find it more difficult to fit the work in. Yes. Now, let's have Sharmila. Sharmila, would you like to share a little bit?
Yeah, Lolly. Once upon a time, I used to love to paint, especially watercolors. I used to love to do some hand embroidery. And I don't know why I kept postponing for a good number of years. And this time, I definitely want to get back to this. And I want to have a change this time. And I'm serious about it. I went and got some materials. I got some paints and then a needle and thread. And I'm quite serious about it, Lolly. Yeah.
I'm so glad, Sharmila. And thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you, Lolly.
Yeah. Now, perhaps we could have one of the gents again. There's few and far between, but I shall choose one. Sham, would you like to speak?
Yeah, sure, Lolly. Lolly, when I listened to you about your team building and motivation to have a good team, I always believed in listening to somebody, listening to my person whom I'm listening, so that I can be a good leader. But invariably, what happens is when I keep listening, the person who's actually talking may misunderstand me and may feel that I'm not able to communicate, or I'm doing nothing about building a rapport. That's I feel sometimes I'm not able to stress myself when after I listen, because the person who has talked, he goes to the extent of thinking that his communication is great. So that time I feel that I am unable to trust myself. This is something that happens. Of course, I feel there should be a change with this, and I definitely would like to have a change about this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sham. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I know. I'm so happy to know that not many of us are very good listeners. So I'm so glad that you are, and you are so patient. Perhaps we can move on to another person now. Would anyone like to volunteer? Bharati, would you like to speak? Bharati?
Thank you, Lolly. Something that I'm satisfied with about myself is, these days I don't mind doing boring work like making lists and checking. Earlier I used to feel the constant need for mental stimulation. These days I don't mind doing donkey's work also. I keep writing lists, I keep checking these kind of things. I don't mind at all. So I'm very satisfied with myself about that. What I'd And what I'm not very happy about in myself is I've started becoming impatient when people around me take a long time to make decisions about things that I feel are very easy to do, like looking at a menu and deciding what you want to eat, for example, what you want to order. Things like that, which I consider not very important. It may be important to the others, but my impatience makes me unhappy. It brings me down in my own esteem. I hope I'm able to face that impatience and it doesn't increase. I hope I'm able to change there. I'm not very hopeful, but I hope. Thank you.
I know, we too are diffident about the changes we want to make, but we hope, right, Bharati? Now let's have one of the men. Whom can I request? Brian, would you like to speak?
Not really, and that's something I'd like to change. I'm a very, what you call, a very shy person, very reserved person. It doesn't come across on the screen, but generally speaking, I don't push myself forward for anything. Sometimes because you ask me, I am speaking. Otherwise, I'd rather not speak. And though I speak reasonably well, I'm diffident about speaking in public spaces, though I do it quite often and quite well. That's something I'd like to change. Maybe I should not be so diffident about it. I should not be so, what you call, I should be the change that I want to see in myself. Thank you.
That kind of surprises me because Brian, you do not look diffident at all. You speak at every meeting, you speak so frequently, you're constantly presenting speeches. You've reached like, the zenith as far as getting your DTM and the speed at which you got it. But yeah, it's nice to know that even people who look overly confident can be diffident. And maybe we can have one more person. Lira, would you like to speak?
Yeah, yes, Lolly. Yes. They say patience is a virtue, and being impatient and being a perfectionist is a personality trait. When my folks at times label me, saying that I'm impatient, I sit back and look at myself. Am I that person? I might have inherited those traits from my father, but haven't I worked on them? With time and experience, I have transformed myself to a moderate person. And what about the cooking and the music and learning new languages? I have enough of patience there. I wonder where I am going wrong. And as a president, during this 1 year term, I feel and hope that I would be a very patient person, but a question mark still lies. Over to you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Lira. You know, we think it is weakness when we admit our faults, but actually they are what make us more approachable and relatable. They are the things which make us feel connected to each other, that we belong together, that we are a team with a strong esprit de corps. When this Korean Zen master, Suen-san, was asked to talk about connectedness and about teamwork, he said, this is the example he gave. He said, in Korea, when people want to clean potatoes, they put them into a tub full of water. And then somebody uses a stick to push them up and down constantly till the potatoes bump against each other and clean themselves. And that is how, in no time, all the potatoes are clean. If you had to clean one at a time, it would take a really long time. It's the same, that the way the potatoes clean each other, that's the way a team works. I know we are not potatoes, Port Towners, but we are Port Towners, aren't we? Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lolly. It was a wonderful interactive session. Now since we don't have table topic session, now we'll move on to the evaluation session. So to do the evaluation, I call upon the first evaluator, DTM Maria Di Costa, to evaluate Toastmaster Rita Pinto. Over to DTM Maria Di Costa.
Ask her to unmute.
DTM Maria Di Costa. Yeah.
Rita, I feel privileged to evaluate you because you have proved that you want the change you want to see in yourself. You excelled at rendering your speech with eagerness, enthusiasm, and exuberance. You fervently expressed your objective of joining the club, and I'm sure that you will reach fruition. You were slow, clear, comfortable with the audience. Your gestures exhibited your composure. You have put in enough effort and practiced well to gain the confidence you exuded today. You would have been more confident as a speaker if you had improved your syntax and pronunciation. You exhibited immense interest in improving yourself. You opened your speech with an apt quote and concluded it on the same note. You made me eager to listen to you right from start to finish. The transition from opening lines to the body of the speech till the end was smooth. You kept reiterating the point and your objective of joining Toastmasters. Your closing was apt too. Your gestures were varied and meaningful. You used them to enhance my understanding of your speech, which you clearly delivered. Coming to vocal variety, you can work on change of pace of delivery and tone. Tonal variety keeps the audience interested and you do not become monotonous. This is for you, not just as a speaker, but also as a teacher. Challenge yourself by making reading your habit so that you speak more fluently and confidently. You will change and transform yourself into a confident speaker with the kind of enthusiasm that you display. You could have told us little more about your childhood life and how you got into the role of teaching. Wish you a wonderful journey at Toastmasters. Over to the evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Maria Di Costa. Now, next evaluator, DTM CK Ballal, will be evaluating Toastmaster Lolly.
Just a minute. Can everybody vote for the best speaker? The link is on the chat box.
Oh, yes.
As well as in the group. The link is on the chat box as well as in the group. Please vote for the best speaker as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, Shivan, carry on.
Okay. Now I call upon second evaluator, Toastmaster DTM CK Ballal, to evaluate Toastmaster Lolly.
Yeah, thank you. Can I check my audio? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
And you can see me, right?
Yes.
Good evening to everyone, and good evening to...
I request all to mute yourself.
So good evening to all the guests assembled here for our Port Town Advanced Toastmasters Zoom meeting. A special welcome to Arjun Sundar. And hello Lolly, I wonder, I can't see you. Where you are? Where are you? There you are, Lolly. Yeah, hi. It was a real pleasure to evaluate you. A very esoteric, rather abstract kind of path, a level where you had to face challenges of delivering a speech online and building a team. But I must say, you did it marvelously well. You did it in your own innovative way. In the beginning, you brought out the point and showed us how vulnerable each and every one of us is and how team building can expose us, expose our vulnerabilities, and also give a sense of belonging to an organization or a team once you get into the real mode of an activity. And that you did very clearly through your activity today, in spite of it being online. You first brought out your own vulnerabilities, which I think are, your own weaknesses and then your strengths. And I almost felt as if I'm your twin in some ways because it resonated with me. I too am a perfectionist, a teacher, and therefore I correct people even on my family, even on the dinner table. And I've been told not to do it a number of times, but they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So there you are. So I have this kind of vulnerability, but I'm trying to get better. You brought out 9 members of our club and make them come out on their weaknesses and strengths. And this exposed them to all of us. And I'm sure at the end of all that, they did not feel as vulnerable as they did in the beginning. So it was a very nice way of bringing out people and let them speak about themselves. Now, what is it that you could have done better? Although your gestures were excellent, the facial gestures particularly, I just wonder if you could have stood up and perhaps let your hands move and let your body move a little bit. That was your challenge. You could have changed there. The story of the Korean Zen master was indeed very excellent. Alas, it came to a sudden stop, and so did your speech and the activity. I just wondered if there's something that could have been made and you could have saved some time earlier on to involve the whole club. I know it was a challenge today, but you come out of it with flying colors like the red color that I see now. Over to you, our general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM CK Ballal. Now, since we are done with the evaluation, timer, are the evaluators qualified?
Yes, everybody is qualified. They have spoken their time limits.
Okay, Toastmasters, please vote for the evaluators.
Yeah, I'm sending
link will.
I'm sending the link now.
Okay. So now we'll move forward with our next segment, that is grammarian. So since we don't have table topics, I think I'll call upon grammarian DTM Vidya Shanai to take over.
Thank you, DTM Shivani. Firstly, everybody who took center stage, who spoke, used the word for the day, some of them more than once. Also the ones who were asked to speak when Lolly took charge, when Lolly was speaking, her team, all of them used the word for the day. I'd like to congratulate our icebreaker, the icebreaker speech by Rita Pinto. She made it a point to tell us while she was talking about herself that she has been a Kannada medium student. Toastmaster Rita, I found absolutely no grammatical errors, but that is something that your evaluator has already commented upon. If at all there is any area that you need to work on, it is merely pronunciations. A few words which need to be pronounced accurately. Toastmaster Claudette Nerona, the language that you used was very academic, and it was a pleasure to hear you. Very good language, and you roped in 9 members from the group from Port Town, and all of them used the word for the day. The evaluators, DTM Maria Phyllis DeCosta and DTM Balal, CK Balal, also use the word for the day. Now, I'd like to draw attention to just 2 things. Firstly, the language that was used, very good language. Some words that were used were excellent. There was just 2 times that there was this colloquial use where, you know, our everyday language was directly translated. For instance, when Dr. DTM Balal said about Lolly roping in other members, he said you brought out members, and I lost the rest of the sentence. It just sounded a little colloquial, but I think we all know what you tried to say, Doctor. Also, DTM Brian at one point said, what you call. I'm not very sure what he was trying to say, but I think this is once again the direct translation of the vernacular, or in Kannada sometimes when you say, adene heltare adke. So otherwise, a very good meeting. Over to the general evaluator, DTM Shivani Baliga.
Thank you, DTM Vidya Shanai, for that report, grammarian's report. I now call upon our counter, Toastmaster Radhika Adappa. Over to you, Radhika.
Thank you, DTM Shivani. My role today as the R counter, I've realized is been very easy. Because there's not much of filler words used by most of the speakers. Even the prayer and the icebreaker speech also, I couldn't find any R's. The speaker with Lolly, with the other participants who put their input, no R's. DTM Phyllis DeCosta, 2 pauses and 1 R. Grammarian DTM Vidya Shenoy, 3 R's. And the change you see is when you make the R count, the person who uses a lot of R's, the R counter, then you don't get much R's overall. Thank you. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Radhika Adappa, for that concise report of our counting.
Can I just interrupt? Evaluator, only 17 have voted, whereas for the speakers, 30 have voted. So please vote for the evaluator. Those who have not voted.
1 second, I have not voted.
May I see? I could not see it on the chat, Brian.
It's there on the chat.
That said, okay, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Please do vote. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the general evaluation. Yes, today's general evaluation is a challenging one because I'm doing the 2 roles together as a TMOD and also as a general evaluator. So, good evening, dear Toastmasters. A special good evening to Arjun Sundar Raj. Yes, dear friends, everybody wants to adopt change, but we are reluctant. But Toastmaster is one such platform where we get suggestions, recommendations, which we don't feel like ignoring or avoiding, because if we adopt, it benefits us. And also with these recommendations and suggestions, we will grow and we will improve, and we can elevate ourselves to great height. So with this, I always believe that we need to evaluate ourselves. If not evaluate ourselves, even if we evaluate others, we need to take it positively and also incorporate whatever suggestions and positive suggestions are given. So with that note, I would like to evaluate today's meeting. So today's meeting, Sergeant at Arms Brian Fernandez opened with a blast. He also laid down the ground rules, which I liked the most was where he said we have to show our faces, and also make sure that we show our faces, and also make sure that others also see us. So that is the great point that you have made. And I feel that even everybody should adjust their videos to it, so that everybody see our face. And also next is, yeah, we had a soothing rendition by Toastmaster Anu Sharma. So it's very good practice to invoke the blessings before we start our meeting. So a well done, Toastmaster Anu. And then Madam President had her own style of delivering her presidential address, announcing the achievements and also giving time to members to announce their achievements. Kudos to President. Timer Toastmaster Wayne D'Souza, though he was a debutant, he did an excellent job by displaying the flags effectively. Our counter Radhika, you counted very meticulously, and also grammarian DTM Vidya, you delivered your grammarian's report, very concise report, and it was, I can say, it was a feast to the ears to listen to your grammarian's report, and we always look forward to listen to the grammarian's report during the Toastmasters meeting, so that we can help ourselves to correct ourselves. So that is what I always look forward for the grammarian's report. So that is one thing I like the most of Toastmasters meeting. And with regard to the speakers, both the speakers were very good. One, the debutant speaker, and the other, an acclaimed speaker. Both delivered a wonderful speech. One spoke about the dream and other spoke about the change. It takes a lot of courage to deliver a speech when it comes to the first time delivery. And Toastmaster Rita Pinto, she delivered it with ease and elan. Many a times we go, in the sense, when we take the stage for the first time, we go blank. But Toastmaster Pinto, you did a great job. Kudos to you. Toastmaster Lolly, after the last speech, which I was the part of the distraction team, which we had, where we had a lot of fun. Today you spoke so well and without any distraction. You spoke so comfortably and you had made it very interactive. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Lolly. And if I have to say about the evaluators, DTM Maria D'Costa, you made sure you give all good points, motivate the debutant speaker, and also give all the valuable points to make her comfortable and take her speech to the next level. So you strengthened her. That is the best part that I liked about your evaluation. Toastmaster DTM CK Ballal, you gave very valid points to Toastmaster Lolly Pinto, which will surely help Lolly to take her speech to the higher level. Other than that, I think I'm done with all the report. And TMOD, I don't know how I have performed because it was a very challenging role for me today. I can say it was an extempore, and I don't know, thanks. I must say thanks to Mahesh Naik for giving me this opportunity, and to all the club members for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, and over to the President.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just 1 second, Lyra. We have a tradition here where we vote for the best role taker. The link is in the chat box and on the group. So kindly vote for the best role taker. Since we have finished the general evaluation, please do vote, and I'll compile the votes and then send it on to the president. In the meanwhile, carry on with the program. Yeah.
Yes, Brian. Thank you. Now, Shivani Baliga needs another round of applause because today she donned the role both of a TMOD and the general evaluator. Well done, Shivani Baliga, for that elaborate and precise report. It was sweet and spicy as you do. Now, let me acknowledge a presence in our midst. That is DTM Alisa Curtis, the district manager from District 70, and DTM, the PQD, DTM Vanita Rangarajan, and our own member, the CGD, DTM Savita Salians. A big round of applause to you all. Welcome to our club. Could you all give them a round of applause and say welcome? Please unmute yourselves and welcome them in our midst, or you can give them a virtual clap.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to you both.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Now
Thank
it is
you.
time. Yeah. Now it is the much awaited time. Brian, what about the, shall I announce or should I wait for that last result? Brian?
You want to do it now or you want to do it afterwards?
We'll do it later. At the moment, I would like to announce the results of the best speaker and the best evaluator. The best speaker is for the day is Toastmaster Lolly. A round of applause. And the best evaluator is DTM or Dr. DTM TK Ballar. Congratulations, dear winners. And I also thank Rita. She did a good job as a debutant speaker, as well as our DTM Maria Phyllis. All of you are winners.
Actually, the results of the role taker has also come in.
Have you sent I can't find the...
Yeah, I will. Can I announce them? Can I announce it?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, because I don't want to waste time. The results of the best role taker is obviously the one who has donned the dual role, like Dharmendra, Shivani, like Shivani Baliga.
Yes, congratulations, Shivani. It was in an emergency, you just pitched it. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm very sorry about Baish Naik. He really prepared himself well, but last minute, I don't know, the stars were not with him or the luck was not with him. Let's hope for the better the next time. With this, I think I would like to hand over the proceedings to Malini Hebbar, who will be introducing DTM Sundaraj, who will be giving his education session to us. So welcome Arjun once again, and we are all ears and eyes to your session. Over to you, DTM Malini Hebbar.
Once upon a time, long ago, in 2012, in the garden city of Bengaluru of Bharatakhanda, there was born a promising Toastmaster on the firmament of Toastmasters movement. The skies dazzled with inexplicable brilliance, and the soothsayers said, "This young man is going to keep the flag of Toastmasters flying high." No, he was right. In less than 8 years, this young man became AD twice, DVD once, club coach once, sponsor 5 times, mentor 2 times. And he also guided 8 clubs to charter. And he was the mentor of 3 divisions and 1 area. member sponsor of 15 plus Toastmasters, mentor of 100 plus Toastmasters, led the lead team and became also the district PR manager. Now, with 4 HPL and 5 Triple Crowns, it was not at all difficult for the protagonist of our story to become twice distinguished. Well, naturally, the CGD, the PQD, the DD, everyone wanted to tap the intellectual of the hero of our story. And he got to ultimately have the ultimate Savari Jambori as the conference chair. Yes, and he led 100 Toastmasters brilliantly. But that was not all. In the story of our hero, we have more chapters to unfold. Right now, he leads the members of Bangalore Storytellers as their president. Well, that's not all. There is more to it because he also leads Sarjapur Road Toastmaster as BPM. Now, I heard that there were many envious eyes focused on our central character. But did he fear anything? Not at all, because he is an NLP expert and he is the one who is the life coach and who is also the leadership coach. So he had absolutely no fear. Amidst all this, he also manages being the project manager of BHEL, also manages to guide B school aspirants at the time of their admissions. Well, I wondered, what is the secret of the success of our great central character, our protagonist? So I spoke to the fairy godmother and I got the magic wand of this fairy godmother. And the secret was whispered into my ears. And the secret that was whispered into my ears was that he is a perpetual student who takes Toastmasters platform as the practice ground for real life. And this is truly the secret of his success. And do you know the name of this central character of our story? Arjun Sundar Raj, with the courage of our mythological hero Arjun. Well, with the beauty of our mythological Manmata and the regality of any Raja, we have with us twice distinguished Arjun Sundar Raj, DTM, to enthrall us with a session on storytelling. Over to not only the hero of this evening, but the hero of District 121 DTM, Arjun Sundar Raj.
Wow. All right. Be honest. Do you really need session on storytelling? Excellent. Excellent. Can you just confirm if my voice and the video are both clear?
Yes, Arjun. You're very clear and your voice is also very clear.
How about now?
Fine. No problem at all.
Because I was speaking from the laptop mic. That's why I just wanted to clarify that as well. Excellent. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Malini ma'am. That was, I think it's an honor to get introduced by you. It is, I mean, it's a blessing. I don't have words. Thank you so very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand if you all love stories. Okay, I see Vanita raising 2 hands there. Some of you are. Excellent. Thank you, Laira. All right. Who doesn't love stories, isn't it? Excellent. Now, if you want to learn the art of storytelling, today is the day, because I'm going to give you three simple, well-known, I repeat, well-known, yet less adopted three-piece formula for storytelling. Now, but before that, Do you want to hear a story? Yeah? Excellent. All right, here it goes. But I want you to listen carefully because there is going to be a test at the end of the session as well. Fair enough? Excellent. Okay, let's go. 9 years ago, I had reached a saturation point with my job. I felt nothing was going right because each day I wake up early in the morning, get ready for work, drive through the dusty roads, toil hard like an ant, and get back home tired. I spent my evenings killing spiders and killing people on the computer, of course. But people come and ask me, Arjun, what do you really do? At that time, I walk straight up to them, look straight into their eyes and say, I have a job that pays. That was the only response that I had for them. One evening, I got home very late after work, frustrated and tired. I didn't even bother to speak to my brother who had come all the way from Pune. Quickly had my dinner and went into my room. After a couple of hours, my black-eyed big brother walked in with a hot cup of black tea, handed it over to me and asked, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? Tell me what is right. I wish I didn't just have a job. I wish I could do what I love. I wish I could change the way things are. I wish I stopped. If you keep whining like this, Arjun, you'll go bald in 2 years. But ladies and gentlemen, if you were there with us that night, sipping the hot black coffee, you would have heard my brother say something that I'm sure would change your life forever because it did to me. He said, and I quote, just stop wishing for things to happen, Arjun. If you keep doing the same things as you're doing today, then I can pretty much predict how your life will be. Only you can change your default future. And he walked back. Thinking about what he said, I went to bed and I just couldn't sleep. I felt someone was pressing on my chest and I just couldn't breathe. Gasping for breath, I sat up, wondering how my days went by and how I can change that. All I wanted to do was have some time for myself, do the things I love, and help people and bring a smile in their lives. That night at 3 a.m., I decided to change my default future. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 9 years since I stopped just wishing. And as you can very well see, I haven't gone bald. But what's important is I have changed my default future because I do the things I love. I started to take up roles in Toastmasters. I started to read. I started to help people. And today I am a project manager in a company that brightens lives of people. I am a coach. I am a trainer, and I am a teacher. What is important is not all of this, but what to me is important is there something that you wish to change in your life? Your days might be downcast, but is that really what you to do after 20 years? Ladies and gentlemen, if your answer is yes for this very question, then I'm here to tell you, only you can change your default future. All right, fantastic. Okay, my connection said it's unstable. Am I audible once again? Once again, a check. Can I see a thumbs up, please? Thank you so much. Those three formula that I was talking about. Are you all ready for the formula? Fantastic. All right. The first thing, characters. Who was the character in my story? You can unmute and shout out your answers as well. There's no problem. I'm not able to see the chat because I'm on a full screen mode. You can unmute and shout out your answers.
It was yourself and your elder brother?
Two brothers.
Two brothers. Yourself.
Brother. Myself, excellent. My
Only
brother,
you.
fantastic. Now,
Just
how
your
was my
brother.
brother? How does he look like?
It was
Big,
your
fat elder brother.
Amrita, that was fun.
Black-eyed.
All right.
two people in one person. That's what I
Sorry, Lyra, could you repeat?
The two people in one person. That's what I thought.
All right. Okay. Okay. It was a very specific term that I used in the story. What was that for my brother, to describe my brother?
Black-eyed.
Black-eyed.
Black-eyed. Excellent.
Black-eyed tall.
Now, is that really important to describe the entire character? But what did I really do in the story? I just gave you a small hint. I just gave you a small clue about what my brother really looks like. All right. Now, the introduction of a character is extremely important. But what is really important is how you create an image in the minds of the audience with that character, with that scene. And that's exactly what you do by giving a hint to the audience and not allow them or not give them the entire information about the character that you're talking about. So when you do that, it makes it visual in their minds. And by giving your audience and making it visual, you will remember, or your audience will remember how the character looks like. In simple terms, you will know, you have your own image of my brother in your own minds. And you will remember how he looks, what he really is, and what he really told me in my story. And that's exactly the number one hint that I'm going to give you in terms of character. All right, excellent. Now, once you decide the characters in your story, now what is really important? I want to talk about one more point. Is it important to have multiple characters in the story? Now, that depends entirely on the length of the speech and the kind of story that you have in mind. Now, if you talk about a typical 5 to 7 minute speech, which most of the speeches in Toastmasters are about, I would really recommend you have 1 or 2 characters maximum. At the same point, the reason being, if you have multiple characters, it becomes, as a listener, it becomes difficult for me to adapt to or understand what character is doing what in the story. If it is really necessary to have the character, have it. If you're not, then egg it out. In this entire scene, I'm telling you, my father was there, my mother was there. But did I really talk about them? Not at all. They're not adding value in the story. But it was only my brother who came and told me something. All right, once you decide the characters in your story, you need to throw your audience into the fire. That is, introduce your conflict. Now tell me about it. What was the conflict in my story? What was I really having a difficulty with?
You were bored with your job.
Bored with my job, yes. Nalini ma'am was saying something?
No, you're very negative, depressed.
Negative, depressed. Yes, that was the difficulty. That was a challenge that I was trying to overcome. One question over here. When did I introduce this conflict in the story or in my speech?
9 years back.
Right in the beginning.
Right in the beginning. Bhakti ma'am, bingo. Bingo, right at the beginning. Now, when you're throwing your audience into the fire, now just think about how we learned swimming. Our parents, our well-wishers, our loved ones would have thrown us into the swimming pool or would have thrown us into the lake. And that's how we started to learn swimming. And when you're talking, when you're narrating a story, you need to throw your audience into the conflict of your story. And that is when they will be hooked into the story. A conflict always and always acts as that little anchor that holds the ship at the dock. All right, once you introduce the conflict, what is really important is you need to raise the level of the conflict. Did I just say I'm bored with my job and then leave it? But when did I really raise the level of the conflict? How did I really raise the level of conflict?
Pour a cup of coffee with your brother.
You refused to talk to your brother.
Perfect. Perfect. That conversation that showed the frustration, how irritated I was with my life, how frustrated I was with my job. That's exactly what you need to do once you introduce a conflict. If you introduce a conflict and leave it at that, your audience will be hooked. But what is really happening? Once you escalate the level of conflict, the audience is able to connect with you in a better fashion, in much closer level, at a much deeper level. As a speaker, if your audience connects with you, your heart, your emotions, your feelings, that's about it. You won that day as a storyteller. I'm not talking about the contest, but you won that day as a storyteller. That is number 2, that is the conflicts. The third point which I really want to talk about is the climax, or like Craig Valentine would say, it's the carry out message in the story. Now, what was the message in my story?
Be the change.
Be the change. Excellent. What else? What are the exact words that I
Do the
use?
things that you actually love doing. To do the
You
things
have
that
to
you actually
introduce
love
the
doing.
change.
Is that what you mentioned?
You can make the change.
You
Don't
can
go
make
with your
Excellent.
default setting.
Go on.
Wishing for change.
Wishing for change. Okay, well, I know word of the day is change, but yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about as well. That's the whole point. The message always comes at the end. So there is a message. Now, who actually came and told me this particular message to me? Brother. So the hero in my story is always the other person, or rather, in my story, it's the brother. So hero in a story in general, the person who is going to give a change in perspective, who's going to create a revelation, who's going to give you a recipe for change, is always and always another person or a place or a thing. And that's exactly how the entire message is given to you. Now, once it is given to you, what did I really do with that? Did I just sleep happily ever after? And then once I woke up next morning, everything changed?
You implemented it.
Yes, some sort of a change happened in me. All right, that is exactly. And how did you realize that there is a change? There was multiple things that I started doing that I really loved. I started to enjoy what I loved, what I was doing, like Toastmasters or coaching, helping people, bringing a smile in their face. That's something that I mentioned as well, right? That change is exactly what the audience sees right in front of them as someone who they know is succeeding. Once I see the person who's right in front of me as, okay, yes, he's succeeding, he becomes inspirational. He becomes the message, or rather the hero of my story as a listener. And that's exactly what we talk about. So this entire message, the carry out message has to come in as a package towards the end. And that's when you are standing over here and then speaking, you just take a step forward and then tell them, only you can change your default future. That pause makes all the difference. So ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to storytelling, you need to simply follow this 3 formula: the characters, the conflict, and the climax or the carry out message. Once you simply have these simple steps in your story as you write, it doesn't end there. What happens is you go back, write that story, you practice the speech, you deliver it, you test it with a live audience, and only then it gets better. Trust me, you might have 100 of things, whatever you might want to have in a speech, but only and only when you try and test it in front of a live audience, only then it gets better and better and better. And that always makes a difference to your story. All right, that is pretty much what I wanted to cover as far as storytelling is concerned. I have a lot of time, so I'm going to quickly summarize the same step. Characters, restrict it to 1 or 2 characters in a short speech. If it is a longer speech, you can have maybe 3, not beyond that, because your listeners might not feel comfortable to have an information overload of characters and how they are or what their importance is in the entire story. That's point number 1. Number 2 is the conflict, is what you're trying to overcome, that something happens in the story. And once that something happens, is introduced into the story very much earlier into your speech, then you raise the level of that conflict. As you raise the level of the conflict, you keep your audience with you all the time. And that is the importance of conflict. The third and the most important aspect is the climax or the carry out message that you give to the audience. And the carry out message always comes from the hero of your story, which can be a person or a place or a thing, which is not you, basically. Again, It can also be an internal dialogue that you might have as well. The hero can be the inner voice, which is not you, but the inner voice is identified as another person. If you're able to describe that as the other person, Craig Valentine did that beautifully in his championship speech in 1999. It is basically a dialogue that he has with himself when he's going to commit suicide. It's the best ever example that I can really talk about when you're talking about distinguishing two people, but both belong to the same person, the one self and the inner self. All right. So 3 simple points: characters, conflicts, and carry out message. That is pretty much the art of storytelling, I would say. I am open to questions quickly for the next few minutes. In case you have any questions, I will be more than happy to clarify. In case you don't have questions, there might be 2 reasons. 1, I was horrible. 2, I was excellent. I would really consider the second point. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, any questions, you can unmute and please say your name so that I'm able to identify you, and you could go and ask the question if any.
Yes, Arjun, I'm sure that there will be many questions. We have a good number of participants today, 52. So before we move on to the question and answer session, may I request all to come on camera? Thank you, Husna. I'm using the right expression this time, come on camera. I'm not saying come on video, okay? Switch on video. Come on camera so that we can have the photograph. And Radhika, who will be clicking it, I request all to come on camera so that we can have the photograph.
Cameras, please.
We have 3 screens actually, so I myself can click. I will click the first screen. Are you all ready? With your best audience smile. We are all audience today, so with your best audience smile, please. One screen is done. I'm not very quick at it. I'm moving on to the second screen. Again, second screen, there are many who have not turned their camera on. So if you could do that, we would be happy. Yes, I can see our CGD on the second screen. Yes, smile please. Okay, now to the final screen. Yes. Yes, it's all done. Back to Arjun. Arjun, we kept the session at the end, the education session at the end, so that we had the scope of having the question answer session in an elaborate manner. So we will be very happy if you could take questions from audience. So over to our participants for your questions.
Because
the question always is the best. Okay, that's there, Dr. Balal. Yes, Dr. Balal.
Yeah, I just wondered about your take on a twist in the tale, a twist in the story, because how important is bringing out a twist in the story, and the number of 2 questions in one actually, and the number of characters to minimize to the bare minimum, if I kind of use it as double word there, minimum, the bare minimum number of characters and a twist in the story. What are your views on that?
Fantastic. In all honesty, sorry, Balal, I was cutting you. You can continue.
No, I'm done. I'm done with the question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Balal, this has always been something that is very close to my heart when it comes to storytelling. That is the twist in the end, because it works very well. It's completely depending on your story and the audience. Because see, one of the things that people need to understand as far as storytelling is concerned is it's always about the audience. It's never about the speaker. It's always what the audience wants to hear. All right. Now, when you talk about the twist in the story, it purely depends on the fact of how you're able to hold the attention of the audience. How important is that particular twist in the story? Now, I'm pretty sure you would remember, I think it was in Coronation 2017, that was in Mysore. Yeah, Coronation 2017 in Mysore. One of the contestants had a speech where international speech contestants, one of the contestants had a speech wherein he goes to talk about where he himself being the hero in the story. All right. At the end, only at the end, we will know that particular twist, because until then, the entire story would be going through this particular beautiful, the path wherein he's talking about another person who is really the hero about the story. But towards the end, he twisted the entire thing and then said that it's not the other person, it was him himself. And that particular twist actually changed the entire perspective. As a listener, when I was listening to him, it changed the entire perspective of how I was seeing that story. So twist definitely adds a lot of value. It purely depends on how the story is. Now, I wouldn't recommend you to incorporate a twist just because it holds the attention of the audience. It's like a wow factor in the speech. It need not be. It's simple sailing through speech. It's absolutely okay. So I wouldn't say it is mandatory. It is something that can add value. It is not like something that you need to enforce it into a speech just because it adds value. That is the first part about the twist in the story. Regarding the characters, I think I did mention, I'm not sure if I didn't, I mentioned it correctly. I mentioned that it is always better to have the story, or rather number of characters in the story to 2 or maximum 3, depending on the length of the speech. If it's a shorter speech, have it 1 or 2. If it is a longer speech, it's okay to go to 2 or 3. Again, it depends entirely on the structure of the speech, the importance of the sub-story and the main point that you're trying to make. Was I able to?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
I think Karthik Nelluta would want to raise a question. He has raised his hand. Over to you, Karthik, if you have a question.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, first of all, Arjun. That was a fantastic storytelling outline for us. And thank you for the session. So I quickly have a question on the number of stories that we can have in a 5 to 7 minute speech. Do we focus on one particular story, go in detail, describing the conflict and the characters, or do we graze upon 2-3 similar stories and bring parallels? So which would be better? Is my question.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, I expected this question to be really honest, Karthik. I will tell you my point of view. The beauty, or I would say the maturity of a speaker always comes in when he can take a 2 to 3 minute incident from his or her life and make it into a 5 to 7 minute speech. And that's the art of storytelling and story writing. This entire incident actually happened. Okay, I'm boasting about myself over here, but this entire incident happened in that 3 to 5 minute conversation with my brother. He just gave me coffee, told this, and then got out. That's about it. But you build on to it. All right. So when it comes to the speech, it always boils down to what is the speech, what is the story all about? If it's a simple message that you're trying to deliver to the audience, it's absolutely okay to have one story and one point. If you're trying to, talk about 2 different aspects. Now, why would I really use 2 different stories? Either I'm talking about a challenge 1 and then talking about a challenge 2, or a message 1 and a message 2. Or if I'm talking about a message 1 and an escalation of message 1. And that's the reason why I would have 2 different stories. And I always encourage, when I'm mentoring speeches, I always say, if the message is getting communicated with one story and you're using the same story, message to talk about, same message to talk about another story from your second story, then you can very well delete the second story, or you can very well delete the story that is not so closer to your heart. Okay, because there needs to be a value addition in the message. There needs to be an escalation in the conflict, or a completely different point that you're talking about with that second story. Only then it makes absolute sense to talk about second story or the third story as well. So when you talk about 5 to 7 minute speech, I would really recommend, it is easier to understand as a listener if I listen to 2 different stories, if it is maximum of 2 different stories. One, the problem, probably the other, the solution. Or one, the challenge that you're trying to overcome, the other one would be the story that gives you a different perspective. That's absolutely okay to have this kind of a formula or a structure. But this is just a recommended. There is no rule anywhere written when it comes to story writing or speaking or contests or anything as a matter of fact saying that this is exactly what you want to do. But that is the misconception that we as members always have. All right, this time the world champion used this kind of an approach. Let me go this and I'm going to win the world champion of public speaking. That is a misconception that we always have. Having, to be really honest, having watched the last 22 years of world championships of public speaking, the top 3 videos, I'm telling you, there is no single formula to win a speech or to win a contest. So it all depends on your story. And how you incorporate the story depends on what you want to tell your audience. All right? Excellent, excellent. I see Wayne giving me a red card. Malini ma'am, do we take 1 or 2 more questions? What would you recommend?
Yes, because the red flag has gone up because that was the stipulated time. But then if the
That's right.
audience has a couple of questions and if you do not mind taking those questions, we can continue with the question answer. That is why we kept it as the last part of our meeting.
Can I interrupt? There's a guest, Husna, who is raising a hand.
Yes, Husna, yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I have 2 questions, if I may proceed.
Yes.
Right. The first question is related to what Karthik just pointed out. It's about having 3 different aspects of your story. So what is your take on intensifying the message? For example, if my message to the audience is about not giving up in life, it's about hope, right? So I talk about one incident in my life to deliver the message. Second part of my story to intensify the same message if I use the different aspect of my life. And the third bit, once again, to intensify. Is that suggested? What's your take on that?
Okay, what I would do as far as this approach is concerned is I would say definitely intensifying would add value in terms of the holding your audience's attention or talking about your the challenges that you're trying to overcome and talking about hope, taking your own example as the message. So I would be okay if it is like intensifying the level of the particular story with a different story as such, which is absolutely fine. Now I would give you a different perspective over here. All right. Now, when you talk about hope, there could be some challenge or some aspect that I am working on when it comes to hope. Because as a listener, there is something that I'm working on. It could be in my personal life, it could be in my professional life, it could be in anywhere, any part of my life. All right. Now that is exactly what you would use by using different example or something to connect with the global audience, give them a global perspective. So if I talk about my professional as one of the examples of the hope that I'm talking about, or having hope in their life and not give up. And I give them an example from my personal life. I'm talking about the same aspect about hope, but completely different aspects of life. We live those lives as a professional, as a personal life, we have those lives differently. All right. So that's exactly how you would connect with the global audience, irrespective of wherever they are in their lives. If you want your audience to believe in themselves and have hope that everything will get better, irrespective of wherever they are, it's always good to give them these kind of different examples and show them that it happens over here, it happens over here as well. And that I can connect with personal life. For me, professional might not be applicable at all, or I can connect with professional, personal might not be applicable at all. I might have a very good personal life, but I still connect with you as a speaker.
Right.
And I still will take your message. So intensifying like this really helps, or I mean, differentiating like this really helps, or intensifying by giving them a different story also would help. Fair enough? What was the second question?
Thank you. The second question, if I'm not taking much of your time, if that's okay with others.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the second question is, how do you bring about varied emotions and expressions in your speech? For example, a couple of stories will be very tragic, right? So how do you bring about humor in that and varied emotions and expressions in the same speech? So that's kind of a suggestion that I wanted from you.
Okay. I will take one word that you mentioned about humor. Never force fit humor into a story. If the story does not have humor, it's absolutely okay. No problem at all. It's just one of the emotions that is used to connect with an audience better. No problem. But if you want to incorporate humor, always look at the dialogues. When you're having a dialogue with another person, it's easier to uncover humor in the speech. I mean, in the story. All right. So I did not force fit into it. All right. That is with respect to the humor. When it comes to emotions, I would definitely say if you as a speaker, let me take about the extreme example. All right. It might be a very, very close to your heart, emotional story to you as the speaker. Now, if you are strong enough as a speaker, as a person to share it with another friend over a cup of coffee, then you can share the story as a speech. No problem at all. But if you haven't gathered that much of courage, if you're not made peace with it, all right, then I would recommend you not do that, because you get emotionally to it. I've seen speakers cry on stage. They get so emotionally involved with the speech. There's nothing wrong in it. There's absolutely nothing wrong in it. Maybe that day wasn't the perfect day for them to share that particular story. Or maybe what happened 5 minutes before the speech wasn't allowing them to share that particular story. It could be any of the reasons. But if it's too emotionally connected to you, you try and understand if you've made peace with it, or if you are strong enough to share that message, then there is nothing that is going to stop you. So there's definitely a lot of scope. I have seen speeches, or rather contestants winning contests by killing 10 people in the story, or making them fight cancer and all these kind of things. That's sympathy. Just because you want to win a contest, I would definitely not say that you kill someone in the story or something like that. If that story really has that kind of a person, individual, then there is no problem. People might perceive it differently, but that's not really important. As a speaker, have you really done justice to that story? And have you really done justice to your listeners? That matters. And that definitely makes a difference. Have I helped you understand it better? All right?
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's just take one more question. I don't want to delay it too much. I will leave my contact on the chat box over here for you to touch base. You can call me at any point in time, even at 3 a.m. in the night. I'm awake. I'll be more than happy to take any more questions. Let me take one more question, if there are any.
Hey Arjun, Sarika here.
Hey Sarika. Yes, please.
Hey. So with respect to killing the characters, why isn't it suggested to kill a character in a story if at all there was a real death happened, and based on which the other character transforms?
Okay, there are I want to touch on two important things over here when I'm talking about killing characters in the story. One, if it is definitely something that has added value, that particular character, that particular person has added value in the story, then it's absolutely okay. But again, there are two ways of telling your audience about the fact that the character is no more. I can definitely use this fact about this particular character's unavailability, or not being there, not being alive, as my tool to create sympathy and can make my audience to connect with my speech and me. That's one way and standard way of doing things. People have done that very well, and one contest as well. But what I would say is, look at it in a positive way. If that character has given you such a beautiful message in your life, or has had such a positive impact in your life, then what I would say is, don't simply say that this person is not there, died, in spite of that this thing has happened, so on and so forth. But talk more about the message that the person has given you, because that is what is adding value. That is what is adding value. Because to me, as a listener, I connect with you. I might not connect as close as I connect with you to your character, but I would connect with you definitely because I'm seeing it in front of my eyes. And that makes a difference, because that's what this stood. And then you can subtly say that there is nothing wrong, this person is not there. Although this person is not there, but her message always remains with me. See, that is not too emotional. I'm not using that to create emotion in the minds of my audience, but I'm using the message that particular character gave me, and connecting with my audience and adding the value to them in a much better fashion. All right. So I wouldn't say it is really important or not important. It's absolutely okay if that is really a part of the story. Just that you can put it across in a positive manner because positivity is, I would really suggest that you share positivity. It's positive, man. Come on, at the end of the day. Yeah. Did I really help you understand that better?
Thanks, Arjun. That helps. I have an extended question if Malini ma'am allows me to, with respect to this particular thing.
The problem is that our president has one more meeting to attend. Our president and
okay, sure. I'll get in touch with Arjun later then. Yeah.
Sarika, I'll connect with you, Sarika. Thank you so much.
Really nice session. Yeah.
All right. So before I leave, sorry, ma'am, 1 second. Just before I leave, I want to quickly summarize on one particular point. Okay, you were just sharing that.
No, our president has another meeting, and before she leaves, she would certainly want to say a few words to you, Arjun. That is why
That's right.
I had to stop the question answer. So
Okay.
I won't take any time to thank you because I'm sure Lyra is all geared up to do that. So over to Lyra.
You can thank, no issues. You had a flowery way of thanking Arjun. Isn't it, Arjun?
Very true.
Yeah. Malini, you could say something? Do you want to say something?
No,
Yeah,
Lyra, since your meeting is at 8, if you want to leave, you may leave. And I think our guest had a question. So, and Urmila has put a question on the chat box. So those of the members who want to stay back can stay back if Arjun doesn't mind. And the guest can also continue to ask questions. But Lyra has a meeting to attend. So does Amita. So that's how I look at it. So Lyra, what should I do?
Yeah, I will just say a line or two to our sibling. I won't call him DTM Arjun. I'll just say our sibling. Yeah, thank you, Arjun. We were honored to have your session, and it was like we felt the warmth, and we didn't know you are from some other club. The way you went on giving us those inputs, the insights, and how to weave a story. And because I was a little distracted though, because I was to look into the chat box at the same time. I'm sorry, but there's always another time. If time permitted us, we could have gone on and on listening to you. It was a great delight. Thank you for all the information. It was an educative session. Thank you, Arjun. Looking forward to more.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, over to Malini.
Okay, thank you, Lyra. You have permission to leave the meeting. Now, on the chat box, Arjun, there is one question from our distinguished Toastmaster, Hima Urmila Shetty. And I must tell you that her knowledge in every sphere is commendable. So when she asks a question and when you give an answer, it would be very educative for all of us. And our guest, DTM, I can only see, I can't see the full name, I'm sorry, also had a question which I actually aborted. So over to our guest first and then to Urmila's question. Shall we continue with 2 more questions? Arjun, you were prepared for 1 question. So we will say 2 more. Yes.
No problem.
Distinguished Toastmaster, I can't see the name fully. You had a question, right?
Sarika. Sarika. Okay, that's me.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Arjun. Yeah,
yes.
Thank you. Arjun, I got a feedback once from an evaluator saying that, do not kill the character because the audience will connect to their own personal lives where, any of the deaths happened in their life. So you have lost your audience for a few seconds or a minute, or, it's really hard to bring back them to your story. So what's your view on this, Arjun?
Fantastic. I think I remember in my CC6 speech, Sarika, I was talking about Naganaresh Karutura. That is the person who lost his leg because of a small accident. And he went on to work in, never give up, and then study in IIT, and then he works in Google right now. Okay. So I had named the speech as Godavari to Google. In the speech, towards the end, I had the same line. Like, what about the person? Think about the person you have lost, or think about the aspects in your life that you have lost. I don't remember the exact line though, but when I was getting this speech mentored, my mentor told me that when you're having this specific word, someone who is lost in the speech or someone who is dead, it it connects with different people at different levels. Just to give you an example, there is distinguished Toastmaster Kumaran's wife, Maithili, is there in the life. Was a member of my club back then. And she had not recently, a few years back, she had lost her father. She's very, very close to her father. And he took this as an example and then told, see, if you're talking about like this, and then at that point in time, if Maithili starts thinking about her father, you lost that particular person in the audience, which is very true. He took that as an example, and I'm purposely taking this as an example to make it a bit more realistic to you over here. And that's very true. What the evaluator mentioned at that point to you on that day is definitely a fact, because death is that kind of an emotion. You never know how much a person can connect with death, whatever the case may be. Some people are so emotionally involved, and that's very, very important. So I would definitely say, when it is an extreme emotion like this, I would highly recommend not to have this, or not to delve deeper in this emotion in the speech. Touch and go. That's good enough. Just say that, although that person is, like I said earlier, that person may not be, but the message remains. I'm just taking the same line as an example, but still, yes, that's what I wanted to talk about when it comes to dealing with extreme emotions like these. Extreme happiness also may be different. Extreme sadness, extreme the death. I mean, I would definitely say deal with death very, very carefully in the speech.
Yeah, sure. That helps, Arjun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarika. Beautiful question, beautiful emotion to talk about. I'm sure.
I think the questions bring out various other facets as well. And the educationist also, I think, looks forward to the question answer session more than the presentation itself, because the educationist gets challenged at the time of the question answer session, and new perspectives come in when the audience has listened to the presentation carefully and comes up with different angles. I think this you have touched upon, but this is the last question for the day, Arjun. And as I said, it is from our distinguished Toastmaster Urmila Shetty. Does the speaker always, does the story always have to have the speaker as a character, always be related to the speaker? I think you, okay, I mean, what's your take on this? Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So there is no must and should in that. You need not be related to the character. Just to give you another example about it, the 2015 world champion Katani, I'm not sure, I forgot that, 2015 or 16, I think. Katani, in his final speech, he talks about a friend who actually eventually dies. All right, but that entire story is not his. It's his friend's story. But he did seek a friend's permission to use the story in a speech. So if you're using another person's story, there is absolutely no problem about it. Just make sure that that particular person is aware about it. Okay, that's something that I would highly recommend. And excuse me, if you are the character in the story, it's absolutely okay. If you're not a part of the story itself, you're talking about somebody else, something else that happened, there is no problem as well there. You can definitely go ahead and then share that particular story, even though it is, it need not be anything about you. Now, if you incorporate towards the end, if you say that how this particular point had an impact on me, on my life, then definitely it makes a difference. It adds value, because I don't know about that somebody else and I know about you. That is the way I would connect, and that is the way I would take the message that you give me when I'm listening to you. Fair enough. Have I answered that question correctly? I mean, I don't know that question correctly, but still, have I answered the question?
On behalf of Urmila, I will tell you, yes, indeed. I will give you a positive answer for that. And I saw our PQD DTM Vanitha Rangarajan a little while ago. PQD DTM Vanitha, it's such a pleasure to have you. And I can't imagine with the kind of work that you have, you still make time. That shows the kind of attraction that Arjun has, I think, as an educationist. Thank you very much, Vanitha, for joining us. Yes. And
ma'am, it's an honor to be here. So many reasons. First thing, Arjun's my one of my mentors, so there is never an opportunity that I miss to hear him. He talks too much, but I guess he makes sense all the time. So definitely something that I need to make time for. The second thing is the PQD external team has been like that the entire quarter that I've had with the PQD external team. So I make it a point to go to everybody's thing. Rohan had given his speech at Mangalore Toastmasters. Some of us had been there as well. It's been amazing to just listen to the PQD extended team, so not missing an opportunity there as well. And thirdly, a club in Mangalore means quality. So program quality director not coming here and checking out on how the other clubs in District 121 can work on their quality is another opportunity that I won't miss. So those are the reasons. Again, Malini ma'am, I'm going to make sure one time that I'm going to take one session and have you introduce me. Today I got like super jealous of Arjun being introduced with a beautiful story. So I'm waiting for my turn to come, okay? Like just one time in my lifetime, I need like you to introduce me as a speaker or, you know, wherever something. Just keep that in mind, man. That's a request from me.
That's a real privilege. Thank you, Vanita. I'll wait for that day, okay? Mark my words. I'll wait for that day when you give me the chance to introduce you. I will wait for that. Thank you very much. Arjun, very sincerely, let me once again thank you on behalf of all the members of PTAT. And you had a very good number attending the session, and I know that it was because of the attraction. Now, what we must say is that if you're good looking, you cannot be proud of that because it's God's making. It wasn't in your hands. But to complement good looks with so many talents, so, you know, a young man of not talent, we would describe you as a young man of talents, many promises, not one promise, but many promises. So thank you very much. And there have been appreciative words on the chat box. You yourself said you were not able to read the chat box because you were on the whole screen. So there were many words of appreciation for you. Some of the comments have gone up. So you can take it as a session that has enthralled the audience, just as a storyteller would enthrall the audience. Thank you very much for that. We do hope to have more sessions from Arjun, Sundar, DTM. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Malini ma'am. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was an honor to be here. And thank you for listening to me patiently, although I talk a lot. Yeah. Thanks, Vanita. I'll remember that.
And I once again thank all the guests who have joined us. So many guests have joined us and distinguished guests have joined us. Thank you very much for that. It was a privilege to have guests from all different parts of the district and also different parts of the world. Thank you very much. I'm not going to end the meeting because we may have a short discussion with the members. We have the debate battle coming up. So members may want to clarify a few doubts. So we will not end the meeting. Neither will, it's a pleasure to have all of you with us if you choose to be with us, because there is nothing secretive about our discussion. But I cannot end the meeting right now. But thank you once again. Those of you who want to clarify your doubts on debate, please stay back. And CGD Savita, before I call it a day, do you want to flash your brilliant smile and say something? And training coordinator, DTM Veera Katpitia, a word of thanks, although you are our own, for your presence. Veera.
Thank you, Mar.
Yes.
More than, I mean, the PQD extended team, complete team was here today. So Arjun, that shows how much of, love that you get from everybody. And yes, this is the first time we are having a session like storytelling, and very happy to have you here. And yes, as Malini said, maybe it is just the first of the many sessions that we would like to have. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanita, and so many other guests who had come from Bangalore and in and around Bangalore. Happy that we had a very good session today.
Yes.
Thank you, Vidya. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Are you around, Savita? I'm not able to check out. I don't know. If you are there as our CGD, we will be happy. Anyway, I don't see Savita.
I think she's busy with some renewal follow-up. So Savita was here, but she was actually busy making some calls.
Yes.
So
she was there.
here, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. She just stepped out. She was texting me saying that she was out here and she was calling some people. So I think she's here now.
Thank you. Thank you once again. So members.
Thank you, everyone. I will excuse myself now. I need to join a class, which I have now. All right, I'll see you all soon.
Arjun,
Bye-bye.
thank you very much. You had the agenda with you. You knew that your session was at the end, but you made it a point to join us right at the beginning. Even before I joined you, you were there with us. So thank you very much for that. That shows that you have a bond with us. So thank you very much for that. And if Shivani is around, I would like to bring to the attention of all that our Toastmasters connectivity failed. And Shivani, who was the general evaluator, had to double up as the Toastmaster of the day. And she managed the show beautifully. So Shivani, once again, warm thanks to you for what you did today. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. So members, if you have any doubts to be clarified on the debate session, I can take your questions if you have any. Are there questions from our members? There is one change from what we have given on the PDF, the rules that were formulated. One change will be there, and right now Jyotika is having a session with the presidents and VPATs of various clubs, because you know we too have introduced this debate for the first time, so it is not really easy. There are quite a few problems that we have to tackle. And one of the doubts that came to my mind just before I logged in for this meeting, I discussed with Jyotika and I've asked her to make that change in the meeting when she holds a meeting with the presidents and VPATs. So if you have any question, we have some of the debaters here and not all of them. Any question? If there is no question, it's okay. But then you see, one point that I want to make. Now, if the speakers, see the other day also, Radhika, if you remember, I asked Anvesh, as a host, if I opt for the gallery view, will it become the gallery view for all? That was my question. And he said no, but it happened today. So when I opted for the gallery view, it became a gallery view for all. So on the chat box, they were all saying that speaker highlighting should be done. Now we have a real problem with the timing issue. I don't know how to solve that. So sometime I think we must have a session only on this so that all clarify their doubts as to how to do it. Otherwise, every meeting becomes, it poses a problem. And before we wind up, I think now how many of us, only 10 of us are here. So I presume that there are no questions. And I just wanted to say hi to Urmila, but Urmila has also logged out. So shall I end the meeting? So thank you, Trisha, your first meeting with us. So would you like to say something? Although the audience right now is only 10, you have only 10 people. Anything to say?
It was really an honor, and I am looking forward to being part of Toastmasters. I couldn't be more excited right now. Lyra ma'am has told me that she's going to give me a slot soon for my icebreaker speech. I've started preparing for it already. And although I am super nervous, I really, really want to be part, and I really want to participate and give it my best. Thank you, everyone.
Everything is appreciated, but for one statement that you're super nervous. No, even as a table topic speaker, you were so confident and so good, you cannot be super nervous at any rate. But then, of course, I know that yesterday Bharati had a session on humility. So everyone has this streak of humility. That is your modesty speaking, Trisha. Very, very glad.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
A young Toastmaster with us, because always we look forward to having when you took your view, when you took your stand on the table topic, WhatsApp or TV, the kind of take that you had is very different from the kind of take that we would have. So it is very nice to have different perspectives. Thank you. So shall I end the meeting?
I have one.
Yes.
Now these pictures we take, what do you think should be put on the group?
What is that?
How many pictures do we need to restrict the pictures so that, in the group, in our PTAT group, when we click, There are quite a few, people who have come. So what do we put in the group?
Radhika,
Because it may fill up other people's phone, but again,
see, actually,
I'm not aware of what we should do.
downloading is there, right? Downloading the, shall I click your picture because you keep clicking everybody's. So please say hi and come on the speaker view.
I take quite a few, but I need to know, should we cover some of the important guests and all? That itself becomes quite a bit when we post it.
Nothing like that. Today, the only important guest was Arjun. We don't need to, now Vanita, if you have clicked, it will be nice because she is the PQD. And Savita could not speak. And anyway, she is our own. But PQDs, if you have, even for the newsletter.
I could do something. If I have pictures, I can send them individually to them.
Yes, you can
put a few in the group. And if I've clicked a few, I can send it individually to them. Is that okay?
But won't it be too much work for you to do that?
I will see. If there are some people, because Bangalore storytellers have come, I can probably send it to Neeta and she can do the needful. Something like that can be done.
Yes, yes.
Because of the sister club. Otherwise, I know what to do. That is.
Yes, yes. We can do that. Yes, yes.
Thank
They'll
you,
be happy, no? They'll be happy to get their fix.
Thank
Trishas, I saw you click Trishas. You clicked, right? Because this didn't work. Trisha, can you once again say hi? And just click you.
Hi.
No. On the speaker view, if you say hi loudly, you will come on speaker view.
Hi.
No, all of us are there.
No. Oh, she came on my speaker view. Say hi again.
Hello.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, Vijaya, thank you very much for being with us. So do you want me to click you?
No. Pleasure. Pleasure, Malini. I enjoyed the day. Yeah.
Did you like
Yes. Yeah, very much. Made
Thank
it man. He very good speaker.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So now,
and Malini, I will tell you, excellent interaction.
Oh, thank you.
Really enjoyed that too.
Thank you very much. Yes, Trisha.
Okay,
yes, yeah. Bye.
Okay, see you then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.
See you. I'll end the meeting now.
Yeah.